What's up, guys? Jam here. Today we'll be covering Chapter 10 of Arc 5. Before we get into things, please don't forget to subscribe and hit the bell so you don't miss out on future chapter summaries and more ReZero content. Chapter 9 ended with Subaru having a magical ore explode in his face as he committed the grave sin of touching Kiritaka's Liliana. Chapter 10 is different as it does not pick up from where we left off. Rather, we are shown what happened prior to Subaru's arrival at the Muse Company Headquarters. We open with Amelia and Garfield helping themselves to the tea and desserts provided by Kiritaka. Meanwhile, Otto is observing Kiritaka, reading his body language. Kiritaka begins the meeting. I understand that you have come a long way. Please excuse me for being unable to meet you at your convenience. Although I understand that it's disrespectful due to my position, it is unwise for me to travel freely. In addition, I have become quite attached to this place. Otto tells Kiritaka that's totally fine and apologizes for interrupting his busy schedule. Kiritaka tells Otto not to worry and that he will treat whatever they need from him with the utmost priority and care. Kiritaka follows up by asking what they need from him, and Anastasia's messenger had told him that it was something that his company had in stock. Otto interrupts Kiritaka, telling him that it may be too soon to say that, and looks at Amelia and Garfield. Amelia looked at Otto, giving him the green light to continue. Garfield was too busy eating desserts and staring at a man dressed in white in the corner of the room. The man that Garfield was staring at was introduced to them as a member of the mercenary group the Scales of the White Dragon. He was Kiritaka's bodyguard for the meeting. Otto recalls rumors of the group partnering with the Muse Company, which would explain the man's presence here. Otto, getting back on track, turns to Kiritaka. We have a special request. That is, we are looking for a rare type of stone, even by Muse Company standards. We are searching for colorless magical ore with outstanding purity. I hope that this is something that we can buy from you. Otto had carefully made his request. He knew he could not afford to be careless and got straight to the point. Otto knew that Kiritaka was most likely aware of the true reason for their visit as well. Kiritaka nods and proceeds to answer Otto's request. I see. We do indeed stock magical ore, and we do indeed have some magical ore with a higher grade of quality than those stocked by regular merchants. Amelia, no matter how many colorless ore you want, we are also willing to prepare. Otto cuts Kiritaka off, telling him to be straightforward with them as they are not interested in anything else. Otto knew that if he wasn't here, Kiritaka would have been able to upsell Amelia, as she is too naive and kind to say no. Kiritaka is offended and calls Otto out for being rude. Otto, trying to make amends, offers Kiritaka mining rights to the magical ore in the Elor forest, which is a part of the Mather's territory. Unfortunately, Otto succeeded in further offending Kiritaka. Kiritaka made sure to let him know of this by mentioning that his company is the only formal company that trades magical ore and that he cannot accept their offer for that reason alone. He continues on, asking Otto if he understands that in their line of work, credit is everything to them. Otto sighs as it seemed that Kiritaka knew about his origins of being a merchant. Kiritaka breaks the silence by mentioning that the magical ore they seek is special, as his father gave it to him as a gift. Otto is left speechless. Whether or not Kiritaka was lying, he had made a cunning move nonetheless, showing his experience in negotiation. Kiritaka was intent on getting as much as he could out of Amelia and her faction. Never trust a man who likes lollies. Amelia, deeply touched by Kiritaka's story, tells Kiritaka she didn't know it meant so much to him. Otto can tell that Kiritaka was not a good actor, as he looked extremely guilty. Otto thanks Kiritaka for his kindness and hopes that they come to a deal over the magical stone. Kiritaka nods and tells Otto that he is willing to part with the magical ore, but there are a few conditions. The first one is that they hid their possession of the stone as they knew Amelia was seeking it. The second one is that once the deal is signed, he is allowed to contact Anastasia to inform her about the transaction. The third and final condition is that the Amelia faction is to avoid all contact with the songstress, Liliana. Otto, Garfield, and Amelia freeze as they hear the final condition. Otto attempts to get clarification. I'm sorry, but I think I may have misheard you. Did you just say to avoid contact with the songstress? Kiritaka informs Otto that he is correct and to ask any questions if they have any, along with considering the deal carefully. Otto, taking up Kiritaka on his offer, asks if he can have the reasoning for the third condition. Kiritaka refuses to go into further detail and asks if they are willing to agree to that promise. Otto isn't sure what to do and looks to Amelia for a decision. Amelia sighs and agrees to the promise. Kiritaka pulls out a wooden chest and opens it in front of Amelia, asking if she would be interested in any of the items in it. Before Amelia could inspect any of them, both Garfield and Kiritaka's bodyguard stand up, mentioning that they hear loud noises coming from the outside. Kiritaka's bodyguard offers to go investigate, As he opens the door, he is greeted by Subaru, Beatrice, and Liliana. Amelia is confused as she goes to ask Subaru what was going on, until Kiritaka interrupts her by throwing a blue magical stone at Subaru, knocking his body away in a blue explosion. We cut to the aftermath of the meeting where Kiritaka's bodyguard is apologizing on Kiritaka's behalf. He mentions that Kiritaka gets angry easily with anything involving Liliana and he will do his best to calm him down. Liliana, annoyed by Kiritaka's actions, voices her frustration for not being able to talk to Amelia and Subaru. Meanwhile, Subaru was getting a lecture from Otto. Otto was furious as Subaru had ruined all the negotiation and the deal they had in place. Amelia defends Subaru, mentioning that he did not do this on purpose and did not know about the third condition. Subaru smiles and tells Amelia to keep going, until she scolds him for being too loud and troubling Kiritaka. Subaru apologizes to Amelia. Amelia accepts his apology. Otto sighs and mentions that they should head back to their hotel. Although Otto says he has something that he has to attend to first and will meet with them later. Subaru, curious as always, asks Otto what he needs to attend to. Otto responds by mentioning that he's going to try and improve the relations for the Amelia faction in Prestella and that it's only necessary for him to go. Otto turns to Amelia and mentions that there may be a day where she will need to come with him, but he will let her know. Amelia, confused, asks Otto why she can't go with him today. Otto tells her that if she were to show up unannounced, they may not be willing to welcome her. Amelia nods in agreement. Before Otto leaves, he reminds them to go to the hotel. While walking back to the hotel, Amelia asks Subaru about Liliana and how they even ran into her in the first place. Subaru catches her up on the events leading up to their arrival at Kiritaka's office. Subaru and the others banter with one another while admiring the beautiful sights Prestella had to offer at night. Sometime after, the group finishes sightseeing and resumes their journey back to the hotel. Amelia, who had turned her back temporarily, bumped into a man with a hood. Amelia, kind as always, apologizes to the man right away. "I'm sorry, I wasn't looking behind me." Subaru joins in. "Sorry for me too. This child, she's so troublesome. I'll be sure to scold her." Subaru had made sure to not mention Amelia's name to prevent anyone from noticing who she was and causing a commotion in the streets. The man speaks up. "This time, I was the careless one. After all, I was a little distracted by you." Subaru's confused as he doesn't know what the man means. "The miss that I just bumped into has the silver hair of a beautiful girl, doesn't she? A girl I once wanted to marry had the same hair. Remembering that hair, I didn't avoid you in time." Subaru, being overprotective of Amelia as always, judges the man to be fairly young from his voice and was not too pleased by the man mentioning marriage. "Well, we can consider this a fault from both parties. Since we've conveyed our apologies, we can both move on now." Amelia tries to tell Subaru that it sounded like an insincere apology. Subaru cuts her off as he didn't have time to explain himself. The man in the hood slowly shakes his head. "I don't mind. I don't place any anger or blame on you. If you want to leave, feel free to leave. If we are to meet again, fate will provide us with another opportunity." Subaru agrees and takes Amelia by the hand as they leave the man behind. Once they had gotten a decent distance away from the man, Subaru apologized for his attitude back there as he wanted to get Amelia away from the strange man. Amelia accepts his apology and mentions that she feels like she had met the man before, but can't remember from where. Subaru and Amelia meet up with Garfield and Beatrice. Garfield, laughing, asks Subaru why he's holding onto Amelia so tightly and wonders if he was worried that someone was going to steal her from him. Subaru calls Garfield an idiot and that if there's some strange guy around, he has to be there to help in case it's someone that Subaru can't handle by himself. Garfield tells Subaru if that were the case, he could protect Amelia with his life and that's what makes him a man. Subaru, annoyed, tells Garfield that he would most likely be able to take one hit before they would be in trouble. Subaru turns to Amelia and asks if she is still worried. Amelia tells Subaru not to worry and that they should continue to head back to the hotel. Meanwhile, we see the man in the hood talking to himself. "I see. Now I understand the meaning. I will never let go of anything I own and I want what I own to be perfectly suited for me. Since I am perfect, I have to be continually satisfied, so a feeling of vacancy would, of course, be unsatisfying." The man spoke as he raised his head. At that moment, his hood fell, revealing white hair. With the wind swaying his white hair, the slightly unhappy man announced, "I must make her my 79th wife to satisfy that vacancy." And that sums up Chapter 10 of Arc 5. This was a solid chapter, and we were left with a massive cliffhanger at the end. I'm glad that we got to see Amelia and the others' point of view before Subaru got assaulted by Kiritaka. We got to see more of Kiritaka and how he operates. He is a savvy businessman and is more of a simp than I originally thought. I can't believe one of his conditions for giving Emilia the colorless stone was for the Emilia faction to avoid all contact with Liliana. I feel really bad for Otto though. He worked very hard to secure a good deal for Emilia, and it was all ruined because Subaru accidentally met Liliana. As I said for the last chapter, I highly doubt we'll be seeing Puck return in this arc. Speaking of characters returning, Regulus, the Sin Archbishop of Greed, has made his appearance in Arc 5. He will be one of the main antagonists of this arc, and I look forward to when he returns. Arc 5 will be picking up from here, so look forward to longer and more in-depth chapter summaries. Let me know if you guys have any theories, predictions, or overall thoughts about the chapter or going forward in the comments section down below. I'll be reading all of the comments, then responding to and discussing 3 to 4 comments in the next video. Alright, now to get into 3 comments of the last video's comment section. The first comment comes in from Strawberry Milk. They wrote, I read most of Arc 5 and I can't wait for more of your reviews. Arc 5 I think is better than Arc 4 and keep up the good work. Thank you, Strawberry. I'll make sure to upload them as regularly as possible. I also personally enjoy Arc 5 more than Arc 4. The second comment comes in from Zasak. I apologize if I said that wrong. They wrote, my guy, you are a blessing. Keep making these videos. Thank you for the kind words, Zasak. I will keep doing so and thank you for your support. The third comment comes in from SH. They wrote, there are so many mysteries in ReZero and most of them are about Emilia and the events of 400 years ago. As we saw in Season 2, Puck has the answer to most of those questions, so I understand why Tappe would not want them to meet Puck again this early in the story. Also, I agree with you about Subaru. He may be weak, but you seriously don't want him as your enemy. And about Liliana, you know that there's something wrong with you when people compare you to Betelgeuse. I couldn't have agreed more. Puck coming back will definitely solve some of the mysteries of ReZero and I can't wait to see what will happen next. Also, Subaru low-key is one of the strongest characters as he can quite literally change fate. And yeah, Liliana is weird in too many ways to count. The fourth and final comment comes in from IMM3. They wrote, it makes sense that Subaru and Emilia are basically famous. He killed one Sin Archbishop and killed both the Great Whale and the Great Rabbit, and there's plenty more for him to do in the future. I want to see where this goes. You think there are awards for knights just like how there's awards for soldiers IRL in the ReZero world? That would be really cool. Anyway, keep up the good work. Excited to see the Pride If summary. Yeah, I'm glad that we are seeing how the Emilia faction is viewed by the public in this arc. It adds so much to the world and makes it feel alive. Their popularity is certainly going to keep shooting up as they will get more achievements. As for awards for knights, I think that there might be, and that would be really neat and great attention to detail from Tappe. Although, I'm pretty sure Reinhardt would win them all. Thank you for your support as always, IM3, and I'm glad that you're looking forward to the Pride If summary. With that being said, I wanted to thank you guys for leaving comments for the videos. I feel really bad that I can't cover all of them in each video, but I want you guys to know that I really appreciate every one of you guys who leaves a comment and supports me. It brightens up my day and it helps the channel so much. Thank you guys for being the real MVPs. Once again, thank you for watching and I hope you all have a great day.